5 is the freeway, slanging my, banging my, swinging my coupe. DeVille, scoop, DeVille. Like
Welcome to Neutral Voices. I'm Dr. V, and this is In Depth, where we dig deep in the trenches of what matters. Tonight, we're having an amazing conversation about school sports.
Yes.
And I got a feeling we have a couple people in the room on the panel that know a little bit about this subject. Yeah. Is that right?
We know a little bit.
Look, now, but wait. So, Clarence, you said I know a little bit. I know a little bit. So,
I know a little bit.
So, Clarence,
yes,
did you play?
Yes.
What did? Okay. This is really not a joke
really,
here.
Really, E. Yeah.
What sport? Wait, let's guess. What sport?
The person that's on the cheerleading team that like carries the megaphone and stuff.
Really?
Really? I was a cheerleader too.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I believe you were.
Okay, Clarence, I can see.
But no, I played football and I ran track.
Wow.
Yeah.
And, okay, what? Because they got Let's act like they're not in the room right now. So, what grade level?
I actually ran track until I was in 11th grade, but I played football all through high school.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to know that.
Yeah. I did not. That's one thing I did not do was track. I did not like to run. If I'm running, there's either like a taco truck or something behind me. I tried the hurdles. I think I gave up after like one hurdle.
One shin.
Yeah, I don't want to run. Not for fun.
Absolutely.
No. Basketball, softball,
okay.
volleyball.
Okay, I love that.
He was on the football team.
So, so true confession, I actually did do sports in school a little bit. I was on the basketball team for the Swank Sharpshooters.
See, look
Look at y'all shot. Yeah, and then I broke a nail, and I was like, this is not me.
The shooting wasn't so sharp anymore after that.
Broke a nail.
Wow. Okay, no. Okay, so, yeah, I wasn't, throwing that well because I realized it's not a good time to kind of come from underneath or between your legs to try to get it in. Anyway, that didn't work out so well.
Not after preschool,
and then I did try cross country for a little bit.
Oh no, I ain't running that much.
I really like that, but
you ran cross country?
Yeah.
No, I ain't running that much.
My junior year, I ran cross country.
Really? Yeah, I ain't running that much.
I never competed, but I ran it just to get in shape.
The words cross country is enough to make me
actually,
be like,
you know something? It's fun.
Yeah, I thought
because once you get in your own thought process, you get in the zone, or you tune everything out.
No, I ain't running that much.
I would just sit down.
See, I ran track.
I ain't running past the 400.
I mean, I played ball and ran track. Played football. I tried to play football and got my ankle broken. It was like, I'm cool.
Yeah.
I'm done with that. Because
football is a real man sport. You know that.
Well, see, at the end of the day, the real man sport is actually a track. But, I mean, so some of us, actually played sports. Not sit the bench, but, I ain't going to go there.
But you know what? And E, because I want E to tell a little bit about his story in a minute. But I thought it was interesting that 42% of all of the students in school actually play some type of sport.
Yes.
Yeah, and so thinking about just this panel, all of us, even though I'll speak for myself, I didn't take it serious and take it to the next level, but I did have interest in doing that. Mm-hmm. But I know with us on the panel too, we have probably been involved in some other things as far as extracurricular activities at school. Mm-hmm. So just since we did a little census survey on the panel, what other activities? Because I want to see how did they rank up against sports just with our panel. What other activities did you do that I'll say, was more engaged or more involved in besides the sports?
I didn't have time.
I didn't have time. I mean, I was.
You didn't have time because of the sports?
No,
my last 2 years in high school, I worked.
Okay.
And played my sport and kept my grades up. So
that was it for you?
Yeah, that was a wrap.
Okay.
And I just happened to be a student, and I was really a student. So, with grades.
Come on here.
I'm
We
what
were.
you said. Hold on,
if
what you
we
trying?
were- oh, wait,
Hold
wait,
on, hold
I'm
on. What
just
you trying to
saying,
say? I
so
want a
say that-
student.
Right. So you say
I'm
that
trying to figure
the
this
rest
one
of
out.
us, we were.
No, that's not. See, y'all always take stuff.
No, we all
personal.
100% of
Y'all
us
always
took
take
it.
stuff personal.
Isn't that what you said? I was a student.
I was actually
actually a student.
So that makes one of us.
So I'm trying to figure out what you're
See,
trying to say.
obviously, y'all guilty about something. So
No, I ain't guilty.
I want to hear it. I want to
Your
hear
words.
If y'all want,
Use your words wisely.
I'm trying to.
Sports,
that
you know,
wasn't
if
it.
you would have played sports, it would have helped you with your critical thinking skills and communication.
Really?
That's what the benefits are: critical thinking skills.
We're
and
going to get
communication.
into some of the good
Okay.
benefits,
See?
but we want to hear these benefits right now coming from you.
No, and
Clarence.
what I'm saying is, I'm still going to say I was an actual student, which is I actually, and when I say this is, I took school seriously.
I had straight A's. I took it seriously too.
I'm not saying
So
you
did he.
didn't. You actually feeling guilty. You asked me for my story, so I'm telling you.
Wait. I gotta. We gonna let you do that, but I gotta put this in there just because of where you're going. And so, as I mentioned, those 42% that were involved in the sports, there were also the 30% that were just involved in the lessons. Now,
We're actual.
Well, see, you know something, Clarence, I'm finna rock out with you, and I'm not finna jump on you, but that's the main thing. A lot of athletes, or a lot of kids that's in sports, they fail to realize they're student athletes,
Right.
And I mean, I'll get on you because you said I'm actually was a student, whatever, but. A lot of kids do not realize the importance of being that student athlete.
Yeah.
okay.
Can I say
So
something?
when you say that, it's like you're a student first.
You
and then
first
you're
and
a
foremost,
athlete.
then you're an athlete,
Right, not an
Because-
athlete in school. You're a student doing athletes.
Right, and I believe, I
Okay.
believed in if y'all would let me finish what I was
We're
saying.
gonna let you
I
finish
believe
right now.
that my intellect and my education would get me further than my sports abilities.
Okay.
That's why I say I focus more on school because I knew that would get me further than my sports abilities.
And you know something, like when I was in high school, one of the biggest things that they told us coaches, you know, the object is to get to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
And if a school gonna pay for you to come there and get that education, that's the main goal. That's the main goal. I mean, literally.
You're saying if you're going to get a full ride to this college, these sports better be up to a certain standard, up to a certain part.
No.
I just want to be clear
No,
with your.
I'm saying if you want to get to this college,
Okay.
your education, your grades need to be up to that level.
Gotcha.
Because once you get into college, your schedule is hectic.
Right.
Okay.
When I say hectic, I had 5 o'clock track practice, 5 a.m. practice. First class was at 7. I mean, then I'm class at 3:20, at 3:50. We need to be back on the track to start practice at 4 o'clock. So you have to understand, and you got a 2.5 hour practice. Now you got to break in study time. So you have to understand the object. You must be a student. Hey, your athletic ability can fade, but that education and that knowledge you get won't go nowhere.
Which seems like it goes into. We're going to talk about the pros and cons. So if you're just tuning in, this is Neutral Voices. We're talking about school sports, and we're going to get into some of the pros and cons at this point. And it sounds like you just opened up discipline. And so that's definitely one that comes to mind hearing you say that. Jill?
When you guys said we're having that conversation, you touched on something that I found. And it's actually an argument, both sides that say there should be more focus, like sports are up here, education is here. So I found something that kind of talks about what they call the American phenomenon of sports. So other countries prefer that students focus more on academics. It even shows in the scores, for instance, South Korea, their 15-year-old students were 4th in the entire world for their math test, critical thinking, English skills. The U.S. ranks 31 on the same test. So when you look into it, though, we spend 4 times more per student for athletics than we do for mathematics. In other countries, specifically South Korea, they spend more on academics, and sports are all the way at the bottom to where most of the kids who play sports do so in leagues that have nothing to do with the school.
With high school.
Yeah, so I thought that was
That's very
interesting. And it says here the U.S. spends more tax dollars per high school athlete than per high school math student, unlike other countries, 4 to 11 times more.
Would you agree? Just, I mean, with what you know.
Yes, and I would agree.
I absolutely agree
Because think
with
about it. I was just reading an article, and there's a school in Texas. I think it's either in Dallas or outside of Dallas.
It's Arlington.
Is it Arlington? They just built a $40 million high school football stadium. $40 million. A high school football stadium.
The stadium looked like a college stadium.
Right.
And so we wonder how much they spent on the computer lab or the
because they invest heavily in the athletics program.
Well, in Texas, football is a major sport. It's a major thing.
Yes.
So when you playing sports, if your parents don't really tell you, hey, get this education. Nowadays, these parents telling, "Oh, you the next big thing. You the next big thing." Here's the funny part about being the next big thing. You can be the next big thing and blow your knee out.
Right.
And then what?
And
you could be the next big thing and shatter your ankle.
That's right.
And then what? You could be the next big thing and break your ribs that puncture a lung. Then what? So you have to understand all the injuries that comes behind different sports. And regardless of how good you are, if you ain't got it up here,
that's right.
You can hang it up.
Right.
And you know what? And you say that, and so I found a study that says there's over 2 million injuries annually connected to school sports.
And like you're saying,
a lot of injuries.
A lot of people put sports as plan A and then your mind or your education at plan B. When it shouldn't be it shouldn't be like that.
That's right.
That should be first.
Well, see, the funny part about it is not even plan B. It's plan C, because guess what they're doing? They're training harder than they study.
That's true.
So your training hours, and literally, I mean, I ran track in college. Well, I ran track in high school. Let me go back to high school.
I was just getting ready to say,
I'm going to go back to high school.
Before you go to high school, how early did you start? Because that's where I wanted you to start.
I didn't start playing sports until I was in the 6th grade.
Okay.
I mean, I played sports outside, but once I got in, when I got in the middle school, I was a little ruffian. And
a ruffian.
Yeah, I was a little bad, little bad, But I had a coach, a teacher that seen,
your
dude,
potential.
you see me in gym class, and he was like, "What are you doing? You steady getting in trouble. Why don't you focus your energy over here and guide me into the right direction?"
Yeah. Okay.
But at the end of the day, I had to rethink some of the people I was hanging around with. I had to readjust my attitude. I had to readjust my mindset to get to that level to where I was able, and I was fortunate enough to get a scholarship.
Okay, so you just opened up a lot of pros, I think, because all of these things, these I'm going to call them the reasons that you just said, the reasons why you changed and readjusted your mindset even and everything.
And plus, I got tired of getting beat by my mom.
And that's a reason.
Right.
So all of that was while you were in sports, organized sports.
Yeah.
Is where you learned these things and the coaches help you develop these certain things.
Yeah.
Okay. And so with that, something happened that you were not just playing sports, but somewhere in there you were dedicated and committed to that. And so where did that take you, and how did things go for you?
I mean, it went well. I mean, at the end of the day, each school level is different. So it was easy for me to adjust in high school. Cool. But when I got to college and understand, I still got to train. I got a full course load. I still got practice. I still got meets. I still got five page term papers to write. So you have to discipline yourself to the point where I ain't got that teacher to hold my hand. Now I got to go back to what they taught me and apply what they taught me to be that student athlete. Because in college, you go under a 2.0, your scholarship gone.
Right.
Oh wow! So you said you got to have a high GPA.
Yeah, at least a 2.0.
Before you say that, okay, I was getting ready to ask you what, as far as you remember, what is the GPA of standard? You have to have maintain.
In college, you have to have a 2.0, at least a 2.0.
Okay, college level.
I thought it was a 2. Well, it depends on actually the college too, because some require you to have at least a 2.3 or 2.5.
Okay.
Depends on the level. But what he was talking about, and you said the reads, his readjustments and everything. Now, a pro, and you were talking about pros of high school sports, and I believe high school sports is a great thing because, as you always saying, the things that the skills you can get out of that. But then you got to think about it. There are some kids that out here are just trying to find a place to belong. They're trying to find a team. It could be from golf, it could be from tennis, it can be from football, it could be from soccer, it could be for whatever. Yes. And they really don't have the athletic ability in which other players have in whatever sport they're in. Yeah. But they want to find somewhere that they could fit.
Sense of
so
belonging.
And they don't just want to be, it's a thing. I forgot what cartoon I was watching with my niece, but they were just trying to get in a yearbook. And a lot of kids were, they want that memory. Yeah. So when they're going through the yearbook, they get that, they're established. They have a memory. They have something to say that fulfilled them for their time.
That made them feel like a champion at that moment.
So I think it's a good thing because you have these organizations, you have these teams, you have these things that people can find a place to fit.
Yeah.
Are they a perfect fit? Sometimes not, but they're there.
And so when you say that, then that's opening up the socialization skills and being able to be diverse and work with other cultures.
Right.
That's one thing that I think is amazing.
I have while you're talking about that, two things. When I was thinking about the benefits, I was thinking more like from a personal level. And as E touched on, using sports as an outlet, just like, people use exercise as an outlet or whatever you do. Mm-hmm. Another thing he mentioned was that a coach or somebody noticed him and said, hey, so that mentorship, that recognition, and if you've played sports, or even if you haven't and you've watched, your child play sports, or this is how I feel, the adrenaline that you get, before the game or at the free throw line or whatever, the drive, the determination. Like, I don't know if you can get that feeling from things that are healthy at that age from anything else, in my opinion. Like, it is a feeling that
empowerment.
It does.
Well,
yes.
I mean, I agree with you on one end, and I disagree with you on the other end, because there's other activities in school that you can still get that same drive.
But I didn't.
Well, I mean, it's certain things in school. If I look back now, and if I had to do it over, I probably would have been more involved in class president, things of that nature. Yeah. So I was cool with them, but I was like, I never was involved in that because I was in the sports realm. But I would have been more involved, being that I was in the sports realm.
Right. Okay.
So you have to come out of the sports realm and venture off just a little bit, because if you don't broaden yourself on that level, starting at the high school level. If you don't broaden your mindset or your thought process starting there, you all you banking on is, I'm going to so and so school, and once you get to that, once you get to that next level, you stuck in the shuffle. You might as well just roll the dice.
Right. So I knew we were going to hear from E's personal experience and a little bit of Jill's. So we even got a little bit of yours too, Clarence. Right. So that's good.
That last bill was all him.
But you know what I did? I asked a few of my students that play sports about their personal experience and their thoughts in regards to sports in school. It was interesting to hear that one student in particular was really only doing it for the parent.
Yep.
That's
And so,
a lot.
yeah, I just wanted to know if you guys had ever heard of, or if you believe that there's some students, they're only out there because they have a father pushing them or forcing them to do this particular sport, but it's not really the love for the game, and or they had the love at some point until the parent stepped in and pushed so hard that they pushed the love for the game out of them totally.
Yes. Yes.
Well, I'm gonna speak from my father's experience.
Okay.
My daughter played ball. I started training her and I stopped because you're too hard on me. Cool, going over there, but don't complain. No, I mean,
Right.
dead serious. Don't
I'm just-
complain when that coach is just as hard as I
Okay.
am.
Right.
So she was saying you was too hard on
Yeah,
her.
and then
Were you?
no. I mean, personally, I would never live my dream through my child.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot of
God put me in a position where that was the furthest I was gonna go.
Okay.
So I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
If that was the case, I would make my 6'1" son play basketball and run track right now. But I don't.
Good.
You got other avenues that you want to explore, go ahead. I got your back.
Yeah.
So, and one thing I did try to convince my daughter, hey, you going down to Central State, I know their team ain't that good. Why don't you go ahead and try out? She was like, nope, I'm done. Because she got burnt out. Now, have people listen to me and like, hey, let her sit this term out in basketball during the summer instead of putting them in 4 or 5 different teams. Let her relax.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And see, a lot of parents fail to realize you push your child and they can burn out. And once they burn out, they don't have no love for the sport.
Absolutely.
They don't even want to watch the
That's
sport.
what I heard.
They don't even want to hear you say that sports name. I mean, literally, because you didn't push them to the edge.
Yes.
And instead of letting them push themselves to the edge.
Right.
Yeah, and I agree with all of that. And when I was younger, we had a half court at our house. So my brother and I would always be out there shooting from super young, and my dad played basketball, super tall. So I played because I wanted to, because I grew up playing. But I will say, when E said living vicariously through your child, when you play sports like that, there is nothing more than I wanted. Nothing more that I wanted at the time when Macy was old enough to introduce her to softball, introduce her to basketball, hoping that she would follow. And for a little bit, she did. And I coached the team, and I absolutely loved it until one day she said, I don't want to play anymore. And my heart, it was something we did together. It was something, I could help with. And I remember, and I just looked at her and I was like, that's okay. And she never played
That's good.
again.
Yeah.
But I do know people who did play the game because they either thought they needed to follow in the
Yes.
footsteps, or their parents made them feel some type of way.
Made them feel some type of way, and or they got their parents' support as long as they were doing
Yeah,
that
exactly.
particular thing. They could look up in the bleachers or the stands, etc., and see mom or dad there.
Well, see, I
Yes.
mean, if you had never seen that, played a sport, the biggest thing, and I'm going to be quite honest, I played basketball in a packed gym and I ran track in packed stadiums. You don't hear nobody.
Yelling
Once you
and-
playing,
yeah.
no, but you can hear that one voice.
Who is that? Dad, mom?
You can hear you can hear your parents' voice out of
Okay.
thousands of people who's in
Wow.
the stand. You hear that one voice and know they're there. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yes.
No, regardless of what, I mean, that's a great feeling.
Huge, yep.
That's a big feeling. Now you got kids that play sports that are great in sports, that are dominant in sports, don't have a soul to come and watch them.
Yeah.
And that's heartbreaking. That's heartbreaking because I've
Yeah.
seen it. It crushed that child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
because that is huge feeling. Like, look, mom, look, dad, look, look at me, and then
Yeah.
nobody's there. That is heartbreaking.
Wow.
and you were talking about just not parents take the love away, the love of the game,
Coaches.
or that sport away
Oh.
from that individual athlete. There's a lot of coaches that they might get that stud player or that star player that they think, and they put more pressure on them, because it's some coaches that are trying to find that next to move them to the next level as much as it is trying to move that child to the next level.
That's a different perspective.
So there really are. There's some coaches that, that if I get this one and I move him to the next level, that means that I move up. So they put, they might have a star player, but then they put so much on them, and, but prime incident, and I don't know the full backing of it. If y'all have been watching on YouTube, it's been on Facebook, it's been on the world news, that in Georgia over the weekend, there was a coach and a kid. A kid missed a play or something at the end of the quarter, and the coach is calling him. And all of a sudden, you see this coach sneak this kid and hit him in the stomach.
Just for those that don't know what sneak means.
Yeah, well, he punched him in the stomach when he was. I mean, he was talking to the child was engaged with him, and he just hits this child.
Uppercut.
First of all, you abused a child.
Where's mom and dad? They coming, right?
Wow.
Had that been my child, he'd still have to see me.
Exactly.
He's legitimate. But see, and the thing is, you are putting this pressure. These kids have now become commodities.
Yes.
They have become marketable pieces. And sometimes, the kids are buying into it because they want that just as much.
Yep.
But then there's the one that, I'm out here for the love, and then after a while, you get that burnt out because you got all this pressure. You got all these eyes. You got all these plays. Deion Sanders. I don't know if y'all seen this interview, but I think he was on All the Smoke podcast. I know it was a podcast, but I think it was All the Smoke. He talked about his life and how everybody kept him through sports and pushed him from high school on. He said he was in Cincinnati. He tried to kill himself.
Yeah.
And people wouldn't believe that he did that. When he drove off the edge of that road in Cincinnati, they were like, "Were you in an accident?" And he was like, "No, I was trying to end it." So you got kids that you're putting all this pressure on.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they don't, and you don't know what's going to happen to them. You can break them because of either parents think they're a commodity, the school think they're a commodity, the coach think they're a commodity. Somebody is putting so much pressure on these kids, and they're not letting them be kids.
Yes, or how they say, be like Mike, or you're trying to live up to a certain person, that idolatry.
Society does that too, and not even a person.
One of the biggest things I heard, one of my guys told me this, because I asked him why his son wasn't playing football. He said, first and foremost, if I understood what I know now about a child's body, that's why my son is not playing football until he least in the 8th grade.
Like development, you mean?
The development and the mental state.
Okay.
And he was like, when we was in high school, he was the man.
Okay.
I mean, when I say he was the man, this dude ran for 3,000 yards in one season in high school. Touchdown Tate, that's what we called him. You put the ball in his hands, you can hang it up.
Okay.
But when he said, once I realized how much pounding my body took, when I got into college, I took a pounding. When I went to the next college, I took a pounding. Okay. He said my body wasn't developed like I thought it was. He said after I did my study and research, so my child ain't playing football until he's in the 9th grade.
Right. So we're talking about the pros and cons. So definitely we've heard some cons that I hadn't even thought about. So when you start bringing in the abuse from the coaches, even in the pressure from everybody, or the thoughts of suicide and the stuff that we don't know about. And how does that child feel at night when they get home alone? Are they saying, I'm proud of myself, or are they saying, I'm tired of doing this because this is what my dad wants me to do, or mom is pushing me to play tennis because this was her dream, etc. So we don't know, but we have to talk to our children to see where they are. One of the things that I thought was interesting as I did my little survey with my students was looking at different cultures and the way they are treated in the sports from their parent. And it was interesting that, I'm going to say Americans, all of the Americans, everything that they said was sound like pressure, or if not pressure, expectation. Right. So, there's a way to say it to, I'm going to be so proud of you when you do this. It's going to be awesome and amazing and all of this, right? But this was another person, and I'm not going to say what culture, but totally different culture, right? And they said that their father said, it's okay if you don't want to do that sport anymore.
Right.
Do what makes you happy.
Right.
We just care about you finishing school, getting good grades, being happy with what you choose to do. And I thought, now that's how you parent.
Yeah, right.
Yes and no.
But why?
I'm gonna tell
I want to hear this.
I'm gonna tell you.
love
I'm gonna tell you.
this.
I'm gonna tell you one thing because my daughter wanted to quit playing
Okay.
at her senior year. And I told her, no, you can't. And she's like, why can't I? I said, you start something, you finish it.
Even if it's hurting?
You want to quit in the middle.
Okay, so
No,
even if it's hurting physically, would you have said the same thing?
No, because when she got hurt, she was done.
Okay.
But when you start something, you gotta understand, in life, you're gonna have a lot of ups and downs. Just because you want to quit, because you started something, finish it out. And once you finish it out, if you don't want to go back to it no more.
But what if finishing is killing you?
With that. I got to disagree with that. E.
Come on, Clarence, talk to us.
And here's why. Because in life, look at your adulthood. Are you at your very first job you ever worked?
Nah.
Have you ever quit a job?
You set him up for that one right there. You got him.
Hold on.
I think we're playing chess. This is Nugent
we're gonna play chess with this. Because here's where I'm going with what I'm saying.
I'm going there with you.
Because when you start something that is not like your job. Okay, I got a job and I stop and I quit because I don't like it. But to see it all the way through. Okay. Because a lot of times we don't see things to the finish because the finish line is right there, dude. Just this is the finish line. Get to the finish line and be done with it.
I'm agree with you.
That's academics. Come on, Jill is
hold on.
Okay, wait.
And I know we run over time, but I got to get
okay, Clarence is going to say it. Then we're going straight to Jill.
Right, E, and this is the point I'm making because your finish line is not her finish line.
Exactly.
And this is why I say that. And Doc V said it. Even if it's hurt, it might not be a physical pain, and that's why I'm talking about the pressure. I'm talking about the commodity. I'm talking about the things that we put on these children.
She wasn't a commodity, and I ain't put no pressure on her.
I'm not saying
so
your child. I'm saying in a whole grand scheme of things. But your finish line was not her finish line. And like I was going to say, I've walked off a job. You know, I've legitimately walked off a job because I had my point. And
that was your finishing point.
I don't mean the shift was ended. I was just like, I'm done.
This is it.
This is it.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. So when her finish line was there, you just got to accept her finish line. But we're
getting ready to hear from a powerful woman on the panel tonight.
I disagree because here's why. So, like I said, reference to my daughter, and she was young. I made her finish the season. Here's why I did that. As long as they are not injured or hurting or being bullied, I mean, there are, extenuating circumstances.
That's right.
But if we are talking about teaching these children real life skills, what happens if you drop a team when you have committed to that team?
Correct.
You have committed to be a part of this. So
I committed to that job and I was done.
If you are a part of a group that is all for the common goal, what does that say about you?
That says I'm
when
done.
you are just dropping off because you're
I've
letting
had
people
my
down.
fill.
So
that means that I've reached my goal.
Wait. Let's
we can tell you play sports.
Wait, let's let her put a period on it.
Yes, because I am an actual student also, and I'm going to finish this. So I absolutely agree. I did make Macy finish out the season because I want to teach her real life skills.
Okay, wait.
Question is this
Wait,
we gotta go in.
Well, we don't want to go too far into that yet. But wait a second, because I want to say this because I did bring this up, and I do want to say just this particular situation. The reason I said I thought it was awesome is because I am the person that get to see this person in pain from carrying the equipment that he had to carry. That he had to wear on his body without exposing who I'm speaking to or speaking of. And when your child is having back pains at a young age,
that's when you pull them out.
Okay. And so what I'm saying is I'm glad that his parent wasn't so stuck into one direction, a selfish direction, and even thinking about the other team players and not thinking about their own child that could be having some medical issues and that's going to have a life injury. And so that's when I say there's always an exception. And so, yes, I definitely believe in sticking to it. Look at us. We still here, right? Together.
Correct.
Supporting one another's vision.
When we've won it,
so this is what we do, so we get it. But what I'm saying is there are times to let it go. So what's the old song? Know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, and when to run. And sometimes when you see that somebody is pushing you over a cliff to the point where it's going to cost you your life, you have to know when to run.
You know,
see, and I get what you said.
Run.
I understand.
Speaking of running, we're running all the time.
You ain't finna stop cutting me off. And I get what you're saying. But Clarence, and I have to get back at you, Clarence. It's a certain time. Like you said, it is a certain time. But when you make a commitment, when you make a full commitment, you ain't played with them all summer long.
Yeah.
And nothing wrong with you. You just don't want to do it because
we're gonna have a man-to-man for the show.
Yeah, we can have a man-to-man because
I'm gonna point some issues out.
What am I?
And my thing, but here's the funny part about it. No, it's not.
Yes,
I'm gonna tell you why it's not flawed. Because now, guess what? She done had her few years off. Her major is sports medicine. She's the athletic trainer at her school for basketball and football, and she's thinking about picking the ball back up. So it's a reason why I move the way I move. I know how to play chess.
Before we get into chess and checkers, but speaking of that, and as we are getting ready to exit, because we don't want to be here all night, but so a young lady comes to mind, the Olympic. She just came back.
Shakira?
No. Is it Biles?
Simone?
Oh, Miss Biles.
Say her, yes.
Simone Biles.
I was going to say now, so that points to exactly what I was trying to say. She knew when to let it go, when to put it on pause, and she came back and she's a beast just like she left. And so I just, want people to keep an open mind and to embrace yourself. Love yourself above all other things, including school sports. So you know your body, you know your limits. So don't be afraid to stop, to let it go. Is that all right?
I'm with you on that.
Okay. Anybody else got any other closing remarks?
I do, but I don't think that would be appropriate to close on. So I'm just going to fold the paper airplane.
And you know what? And I'll say this before we turn it to E. Sometimes it's not how good you are, but how bad you want it.
That's
want
true.
what? The win.
Whatever.
And as we always say before we leave you, E.
Always protect your mind.
Thank you.
Chase 4-5 is the freeway, slinging my, banging my, swinging my coupe. DeVille, scoop.